Anna Yuen, EQ Bank. We are on a retreat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean for 5 days on a cruise back from Alaska. This has been a pretty amazing way to get to know each other, and as we both of us try to find creative solutions to entrepreneurs, mortgage borrowers, people with really specific situations, this was a good week to hash things out. So it was awesome to do a yoga class with you, and then a steam room and dinners, and then talk about like pretty important solutions. So thanks for taking a few minutes out of your cruise to tell the viewers what it's like on the inside of EQ Bank.
Well, happy to join you in some smooth sailing right now. It's been rough waters at some point during the trip, and I think that kind of, you could just chalk it up to team bonding, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, team bonding, and it has been rough waters for a lot of mortgage goers, especially if you are new to business, new to the country, not the best credit score, you're over leveraged according to your local bank, and you guys are pretty flexible when it comes to mortgages, which is awesome. But people sometimes think, oh, are they a legitimate lender? They're not, they're not RBC. They don't have those big Olympic ads and things like that. And are they even federally regulated? So let's demystify a bit of the perception of the "it's too good to be true" thoughts that some people have when we propose alternative lenders.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're actually the 7th largest bank in Canada, and we've been in business for over 50 years. And because we are a bank, we are, following the Bank Act, and we are federally regulated. So there are lots of things that keeps us, grounded as a large, safe company to lend money out to consumers in Canada.
Right. So you guys, yeah, right. So, but you have retail locations?
We don't. We're branchless, so that's
right. Branchless, which is why people question if you're legitimate. But you're under the Bank Act. It's all legit. People's money is safe through you, right?
We even have a digital banking arm called EQ Bank, which
right.
Some people may have heard or maybe seen the commercials for on TV or on the back of a bus or on the SkyTrain and whatnot here in Vancouver.
Totally. Yes. No, that's the first thing I try to tell people in less eloquent words than the way you put it. But so you're legit. Great. Now, how do you help entrepreneurs or people that just aren't fitting in the check boxes with their local bank? Where do you differ as an alternative lender, and what are situations where someone whose hopes just got crushed can maybe be a bit more open and enlightened through someone like EQ Bank?
Well, there are a few ways to look at it. So let's say you walk into your local bank and they say, you're approved, but for this amount only. Now, for us, you're approved and we can approve you for more is usually what I can tell you.
Right.
Just, without looking at the details too closely, just from a faraway standpoint. Now, what we're looking at instead is typically a prime lender would look at 2 years filed returns on their income.
Right.
Whereas we take a very different approach. We instead look at self-employed borrower type income, and we look at 6 or 12 months bank statements and look at that cash flow. So the cash flow is what we're looking for to see, okay, this person is making money into their account with their business. They haven't necessarily been 2 years yet. We don't need to see that 2-year history from the government that they've been filed and paying their taxes to the CRA. We just look at cash flow into their bank account. It could be a business account, it could be a personal account. That's where I could say we get a little bit creative as long as that situation makes sense. And that's where you as the broker, just write a bit of a submission story to us.
Of course, yeah. It sounds like you do what I imagine all banks would have done. It's like, do you have the money or not? You do. It's not about, would you write off that income? You don't have it. Well, I still have it, right? Or I've been around for 2 years. No, it's been 6 months, but the money's in the bank. Or I've come from the same profession. I just now make more money, and I'm self-employed. Yeah, it's crazy how people get penalized for taking a risk, for being brave, and the last thing that should be happening is they're being given a harder time to level up their life from like really hard-earned money. So it drives me nuts when banks just don't want to touch those things because they're way too conservative.
Right. So let's say you're talking to that banker and they say, well, the next best way to get approved is to file your taxes for 2 years.
Right.
Now the question is, do you want to wait 2 years if you're trying to get into the real estate market? You don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. If you
Appreciation,
appreciate the
instability with
values,
you, maybe.
rates changing,
Rates, of course.
guidelines changing in the lending world, not just like ourselves, but all lenders.
Right.
They have guidelines to follow in the industry. So if they really are set on getting approved today, that's definitely a conversation to have with yourself as a broker and say, what are my options? Like, maybe we will just look at an alternative solution today, and you can always refinance into the prime space when you're ready. And that's usually having a like a life cycle progress situation with your broker. It's more like, not just finding a solution today, but also what about in 2, 3, 5, 10 years?
Of course.
What can your broker do for you?
Right, and unlike the USA, people aren't in a 30-year term or even a 5-year term at the traditional bank. You do as little as a year?
1 year.
Yeah. So someone usually uses a bridge. Yes, they're paying a little bit more, but that little bit more they're paying with you could mean they're in the market a year earlier, and means that they're not paying way more for the same house due to appreciation or due to appreciation plus higher rates, etc. Right? So speed is what you enable, of course, at like a pretty comparable rate to a lot of the banks right now, actually, especially on the fixed side. So
yeah. So they're usually about 1% higher with a 1% lender fee.
Right.
And that's usually just generally how I communicate to brokers when I'm educating them on how alternative works.
Yeah, love it. Well, I mean, very reasonable in many ways, and I think the key thing is demystifying who is behind the bank. You're like a normal human, abnormal human actually. You're hanging out in a boat with brokers and some other very caring lenders, and we're, like, you're putting your money where your mouth is. Like, you're spending time to understand what the market wants, what our customers are demanding, what their pains, what their questions are. We're partly answering them, and I think it helps for people to know that there's a human who's going to have their back and give them a non-bullshit approach when they present their papers that are basically financially naked. Like, I think that's really important. So excited to hear it come from the horse's mouth, as they say. What do you do when you're not underwriting mortgages? What do you do for fun? Because alternative lender banks and the people that work there are arguably more fun than some of the bankers, because you have more freedom.
As a team,
different
we like
values.
to have fun, for sure.
Okay, tell us about it.
We like to do team events, usually quarterly as
Yeah.
a team, so that we get to work together, but also get to know each other as a group. And something we look forward to every year is our year-end holiday celebration.
Of course.
So every other year, we typically will go to a different province and celebrate together.
Right.
So that's something we look forward to. Personally speaking, when I'm not working on mortgages, right now, really enjoy just my personal time with my 2 young kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just holding on to those last few moments before they get a little bit too old and they start to have a little bit more independence.
Too cool for
really
school.
Enjoy that toddler stage right now.
Parks, bike rides. What are the favorite activities?
So right now it's scooters.
Scooters.
Yeah.
I was into that. I think like age 9 or 10, the Razor scooters.
Yes, exactly.
Are those still cool?
Yeah. So my 2-year-old, he has what they call a globber.
Wow.
It's like a mini version.
Yeah, 2 years old. How
bright
can they even
green.
balance on a scooter when they're 2 years
I
old?
was so shocked too, but as of last summer, he started doing it when he was still only a year old at his daycare. They have one in their little playgrounds. So
Yeah.
you can see he was already trying, and because it's springtime, we're out more. He's really getting his practice in, so it's great to see him progress.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's a full circle of people who are trying to balance their life, whether it's on the figurative scooter or the real one. It sounds like EQ Bank and yourself are an obvious solution to at least look into. So thank you for breaking it down a little bit as we are on this cruise and staying away from the fun that other people are doing. But
No fun right here,
we're
right?
breaking down. Look at this
Working
amazing
hard.
view, and we just saw a whale, right?
Exactly, yeah. I was so surprised. I didn't think I'd see a whale on the ship like that
Yep.
so easily, too.
Pretty cool. Thanks for listening, guys. Any questions you have, you know who to contact.